Greetings, everyone. This is Rock and Roll Spot Connection with the Weekly Comic Roundup, and we're going to move on to this week's best way to put it, licensed comics. To be the stuff that used to be books based on set in proper, based on properties that initially existed outside of comics. So, kicking things off, we've got Star Wars number 29. Yeah, a bit weird because, well, yes, Star Wars did start off as a movie. The Star Wars comic the initial Star Wars comic debuted shortly thereafter. So yeah. Anyway, the rebels have learned of the construction of the second Death Star. Basically where we left off. Anyway, the on the planet Spira in the Galactic Rim. Is she an admiral? Amlin Holdo, later a Resistance admiral, has suggested that the heroes of the rebellion take a break. Hanging out poolside at the home of a friend. Lando and Chewie are playing cards. Luke's studying an ancient Jedi text, though Lando's trying to get him to join in the cards. But there's a plan for the evening. Holdo has learned of an auction, which will be attended by the curator of the Imperial Museum. So, Luke, Holdo, and Leia go to the auction. What they're bidding on is a High Republic ship, fighter craft used by a group of outer rim marauders back in the High Republic days. So, but Holdo and the curator of the museum basically enter into a bidding war over it. As it's part of an additional plan that Holdo has. However, the curator wins the auction, and even with a suggestion, even with asking Lando for help, Lando simply suggests they let him win the auction, and well. So the plan becomes they break into. So the plan is then they break into the facility that the ship's being kept at, as apparently it could basically fix all of the rebellion's current supply problems. The ship itself, it's not the ship that Holdo really wanted. It's the engine, a path engine. They hook the engine up to the ship they've got, and nothing. However, a bunch of TIE fighters are heading their way, and Holdo's friends say is destroyed. The path engine powers up as coordinates are entered into the ship, and they end up in no space. And that is where the issue ends. This looks like this would be an interesting story. Moving on to our next book, we've got Star Wars Bounty Hunters, number 28. Where we left off, Tonga and her crew had been hired by the Pike Syndicate to protect a mobster at a party that was being held in his honor at the Accretion Disco, which orbits a black hole. And Tasu Leech ended up killing the mobster. So, Shit and Fan have met rather catastrophically. The disco goes on alert, and the Pikes turn on the bounty hunters as the assassins make their way out. Valentin's team have been asked to meet with Lord Vader aboard the Executor. Valance gets up in Vader's face. However, and Vader holds up his hand and simply fixes Valance's collar. But Valentin's team have a mission. Protect a shipment of medicine being sent to the populace of Bastine as a gesture of imperial goodwill. Back at the disco, things are going from bad to worse, but Zuckuss, or 4LOM, has a plan. His plan is to drop the disco into the black hole. At the Unbroken Clan Palace on Corellia, the former clan leader has returned. Of course, as the clans been informed of Cadelia, the current all leader, warming keeping the seat warm for Cadelia until she's ready. Vakora, well, yeah, she deals with dissent as you'd expect by killing dissenters, and then asking if anyone else has a problem with her taking control again. The bounty hunters manage to escape. On their way out, they also evacuate the staff, and back aboard the Edgehawk, Tonga replies finally calls back Crimson Dawn, wanting to know what the job is that's being offered and how much they'll pay. Apparently, the job is to intercept and take a supply shipment headed to a specific Imperial world. That Imperial world? Bastine. And that is where the issue ends. It's always fun when multiple storylines finally converge in a comic. Moving on to our next book, we've got Predator number 4. Where we left off, what is her name? Theta. Theta is trying to escape from the planet that she was on, and couple of Yautja ships came after her. After she discovered that Yautja were targeting Astor facilities, as it was an Astor ship that had been going after hunters. She manages to take out one of the Yautja ships, and then causes the other to crash, and before crashing, and then basically going out to face the Yautja one-on-one. So, that said, should be noted that, well, Beta's still partially drunk. That's how she coped with learning that she basically indirectly led to the deaths of quite a few people at the hands of the Yautja. But the Yautja messes her up bad, and then gets shot to hell and back by additional Astor commandos, who are taking her into custody and wanting to know just how the hell it is that, or who she is and why she's flying around in one of their Astar ships. And that is where the issue ends. And the companies get involved. The company gets involved. Well, not the company, but a corporate entity. Which brings us to our next book, Magic the Gathering, number 20. Writer Jed McKay's final issue on the book. The series will be continuing, just with a new writer, starting next month. But this wraps up McKay's arc. As for our Hidden Spark variant, we've got Jace the Ghost Speaker. Now, it has been confirmed that, yes, this book is definitively outside of Magic the Gathering canon. It's basically published fan fiction, which, okay, that's fine. It's good. It's enjoyable. That's kind of the important thing. Anyway, where we left off, yeah, Garuk, Nico, and Chandra had begun their attack had made it to Ravnica and had begun their attack. And it seems as though things were definitely going their way, as they got the guilds on their side, thanks to the intervention of the ghost of Niv-Mizzet. But there's still the Guild Guard, the Guild Pack Guard, which Tezzeret, masquerading as Niv-Mizzet, installed. We're all clones of Jace Beleren. But, and Nico had come upon the hidden Planeswalker, and was attacked by Tybalt. He imprisoned Tybalt in one of his mirrors, however, when Tezzeret showed up. But the Planeswalker battle continues, and it couldn't be me looking at all the Planeswalkers involved and thinking, okay, we're going to build a Super Friends deck with these Planeswalkers. No, not me at all. I swear. Pay no attention to the Super Friends. No, wait, do pay attention to that deck when I post a deck overview on it when it's eventually finished. But we find out what Tezzeret's scheme is. He is he's going to turn himself into a god. He's using the same spell that Nicol Bolas tried to use during the War of the Spark. But power things out of Tezzeret's laboratory, calls across the plains. Stronghold answers, Emeria the Sky Ruin answers, and the Drowned Temple answers. And the Elder Spell, that's what it's called. But Sona Maeve's powers amplifying Tezzeret's own when everything gets switched off by Gabrielle Kane rescuing Asona. When Tezzeret attacks, however, Asona strikes back, and it's revealed that at the moment his power is completely gone. But that's when the other planeswalkers burst in, not knowing Tezzeret's just human now. But Vraska just opts to deal with him by doing what a Gorgon does. Looking at him. But Garruk now has the mirror with Tybalt inside it, and he's going to... But he's considering his options on what to do with Tybalt. But Nico informs him that they can't hold him much longer. But Kai has decided that she's not going to retake her position as a guildmaster. Ral proposes to his lover. Though Tomek is reminded that Ral was ousted, but Ral says yes. There was actually a recent Secret Lair drop actually had the card artwork showed Tomek and Ral's wedding. And Jace is back in corporeal form, having basically placed his soul into one of the clones of himself that Tezzeret made. And Chandra notes that everything worked out almost like it was fated. On an unknown plane, however, Asona comes upon Planeswalker Aminatu, the Fate Shifter Planeswalker. Apparently, Asona could feel her Aminatu's magic all over Chandra and Garruk and Nico, bringing them together and making them dance to their tune. But Asona's decided that she thinks it's time that she took a turn, making sure that Fate came out to her liking. Or Fate did something she wanted for a change. And that is where the issue ends. As I said, this is the last issue of Jed McKay's run on the book. Does it say did the preview image say who the new writer is? I don't remember. But one thing we'll be looking forward to this month is the Nahiri the Lithomancer one-shot. And no, we don't have a listing on it doesn't say who the new writer is going to be. That said, I'm looking forward to what they're going to do. I do wish that the comic was in canon, but well, wish in one hand, you know. That's my only real complaint with the book overall. Moving on to our last book for the moment, we've got Quick Stops #1. Now I don't know if this is going to be a miniseries or ongoing, but this is set in the Askew-niverse, basically the universe of the Kevin Smith movies, Clerks, Mallrats, Chasing Amy, Dogma, Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back, Jay and Silent Bob Reboot, Clerks 2, Jay and Silent Bob Reboot, and the upcoming Clerks 3. And it could be argued also Scream 3, or Scream, because, well, Jay and Bob were in Scream 3, so therefore one could assume that Scream takes place in the same universe. Anyway, so this is apparently just kind of side stories from within at least the definitive canon of this universe, the movies. So it looks like this is happening during the events of Jay and Silent Bob Reboot at Hollywood Chronic Con. And apparently Holden McNeil is a guest of honor of Chronic Con and doing a live recording of his podcast, Blunt Man Beyond, where he's being interviewed by Alyssa, who, if I remember correctly, Holden and Alyssa are now married in this universe. But guy in the audience asked a question. First off, wearing a Comic Toast t-shirt. Comic Toast was the name of the comic book shop that appeared rather briefly in Mallrats and was alluded to in Chasing Amy. A story is recounted that setting up a deleted scene from, I believe, Chasing Amy, but the shop in question, the owner, Steve Dave, is pretty much always a dick. Walt's not much better, but apparently the last time they ever went in, that Holden and Banky ever went in there, Steve Dave talked some shit about Blunt Man Chronic number 2, and presumably also number 1, and so they went outside. Banky cut a check for $5,000, taped it to the bottom of a garbage can, and then tossed the garbage cans through the window. But the question that comes up is, how did Holden come up with Blunt Man Chronic? So apparently he used to work at Quick Stop, and there was the summer before he went to college. But he just did sketches of stuff, and because nobody ever came in, except for, Jay and Silent Bob. But Holden gets stoned in the cooler with Jay and Bob, and apparently with the weed he gets his inspiration for Blunt Man and Chronic. And so, basically he hallucinates an entire adventure with them. Very Dark Knight Returns, with Cockknocker taking the place of the mutant leader, and basically getting the Batman versus the mutant leader fight between Blunt Man and Cockknocker. And then he talks about Jay and Bob showing up on his doorstep for the movie check, and also brings up the period shortly thereafter where they were mistaken for the leaders of a terrorist organization. But as the issue ends, or as the scene ends, everyone's clearing out of the convention hall, and Jay and Bob rush in and slam the door, and Holden sees them and says, "Look at these morose motherfuckers right here." And that is where the issue ends. I don't know if it entirely looks like someone done shit in their cereal, but, you know. Bong! This was fun. I'm hoping this is a monthly. This is a monthly. Hopefully not a mini series, but there's only so much you can do, you know. Anyway, that will do it for now. As always, feel free to like, share, and subscribe. Links to my Facebook, Twitter, Patreon, and PayPal can be found in the description box down below. This is Rock and Roll Spock signing off, saying, live long and rock hard.